So there was a controversial match this weekend at BJJ Stars event on Flow Grappling between Kynan and Mika Galvao. So I just wanted to break down some of what I thought was going on and maybe some misconceptions that people had about what Kynan was trying to do and how he could have avoided getting disqualified and actually get the submission instead. Okay, so he started off, Mika was in his X guard. He did the classic entry, Mika was standing up, holding the collar, lift, and he put him into the saddle here. Okay, one thing, just a little side note, if anyone is doing this and wants to make it a bit more effective, especially in the gi, you can actually drop their knee down using this little hook. Now you have a bit more control as you lift and put them down the saddle. Okay, but what happened here then? Kynan started to control Mika's leg, and actually recently in Nogi Worlds, I think, Jacob Couch submitted someone with this exact technique. But Kynan was basically pulling the leg in here, and what he wanted to do was pass this off to the knee bar position here. I'm trying to put pressure on the knee and get the finish with the knee bar. Mika started to turn this direction, and what happens then is his knee turns to the outside and he ends up in this reap position. Okay, so there's some interesting talking points, like how would I go for this technique and avoid them escaping, avoid them making me get disqualified. As Kynan passes this through here, he starts off knee barring more on the side of the knee. As Mika starts to turn then, Kynan actually turns this into like a Z-lock style knee bar, where he curls his legs down, moves his hips away, and now it's actually hard for Mika to bend his leg and defend the normal way. Okay, so now a lot of the pressure starts to come on the side of the knee. You see in the match where Jacob does this, he starts in the saddle, reaches under, and straight away he gets the finish here because he's rolling his hips more over the top. Okay, so if you want to avoid your opponent escaping or getting hurt with this Z-lock style knee bar, just make sure that as you pass the leg over, you have to start to turn your hip over the top. Brace your arm on your leg, and now as I put my hip through, I can get the finish. And you can see here it's hard for Aaron to turn and free his leg. Okay, if he does start to turn and free his leg, okay, for him, he wants to bend his leg now, okay, because now he avoids that pressure. Now I can't put that Z-lock style pressure on him. Okay, so it is very important if you are turning out of a position like this, you have to learn the lesson from the weekend. Don't keep your leg straight, because if Aaron turns here but keeps his leg straight, now I can actually put a lot of pressure, almost like folding his leg sideways using my lat. Okay, so from here, if I was attacking this move myself, okay, I would start to try and put the pressure and get the finish. If Aaron turns and defends it properly, now I'll have to switch to an inside heel hook. If he starts to defend and turn away, now I can start to transition back into my inside heel hook and get the finish. Okay, so this would be like the combination I would recommend if you were doing it in training or in a match. So let's say I enter into the saddle here, I try and get a quick finish with the knee bar. If Aaron defends it by turning correctly, I know he's already starting to turn and defend here. So instead of me trying to finish the outside heel hook and he's going to counter it with a back take or something here, okay, as he starts to turn, I'm just going to open my hips the other direction. He'll drop back into the saddle. I can finish with the heel hook, or I can start to do this knee bar again. The last thing I wanted to go over was kind of the topic of using this in IBJJF and when does it go from being a knee bar to being a reap. Okay, because obviously if Aaron's leg is outside here and I bring my leg across, everyone knows this is a reap. Okay, but it's kind of tricky. When my hip is over the top, this isn't a reap, it's a knee bar. If I turn it a few degrees here, okay, maybe it's not a reap, it's a knee bar. If I turn it a bit more, okay, is it a reap or a knee bar now? If I keep turning, is it a reap or a knee bar? Okay, and then it depends as well on Aaron's reaction. So if he turns this, let's say this direction, now I haven't really moved, I was knee barring him, but now I'm disqualified all of a sudden. So it's kind of a tricky line that you're going down. So like, where is the point where it goes from being a knee bar to being a reap and a disqualification? Okay, so there's definitely a few good lessons to take away from that event at the weekend. Main thing is just if you're doing these kind of submissions in training, be careful because there is some bad injuries from these like Z-lock style knee bars. If you're defending it, you want to make sure you keep a bend in your leg so that you can start to turn and free yourself. And then the person attacking, just make sure that as you're doing it, always rolling your hip up over the top, bracing on your own leg, so that now it just makes it a lot harder for him to free his leg. Okay, so definitely an interesting sequence. Give it a go in training and stay safe.
You do whatever you can to get the right result, and if that's fouling, then you foul. It's not a crime. You might get a yellow card, you might even get a red, but your team might win.